Kwesi, what do you make of this?
On the surface, it would appear that this is a very simple matter.
Okay.
But I've been led to believe that this is a very complicated, difficult matter to deal with. And listen, I've seen the report of the Inusa Fuseni Committee, and the report is damning. In fact, this morning...
You mean the Totobi Kwashi report?
Yeah.
Because Inusa Fuseni has recused himself.
Yes. This morning, I heard Inusa Fuseni on radio speaking to the report. And what he said was mind-boggling. One, he admits that there have been infractions of the Constitution. The Constitution was violated. He goes on to say that what happened also contravenes the constitutional instrument guiding, the conduct of such elections. And then he insists that what happened is not in sync with the philosophical outlook of the party,
right,
and so on. Now, if what happened is in clear violation of the law, then it is very risky putting up a candidate for this by-election, because even after the election, the results can be challenged on the basis that the primaries were, a violation of law. You understand? So that risk is there. But then there's another risk. The contestants in the elections are required to file nominations by tomorrow. Okay. So if the NDC were to annul the election results, it would be impossible to hold another primary and to file a candidate to contest the elections tomorrow, as is required by law. So that's another major challenge. Okay. Now here, there are options. Given the overwhelming majority of the party in Parliament, is it possible for the party to uphold principles and law and so on, and to sacrifice one seat? That's an option. So the party may decide to annul the results of the elections and accept the difficulty of not filing a candidate for the main elections, given the fact that it will not have any dramatic impact on the party's ability to work in Parliament. So that's an option that the party may want to look at. The committee also looked at the Constitution of the National Democratic Congress and came to the conclusion that there's no provision in the Constitution of the National Democratic Congress which empowers any organ of the party to annul election results of elections conducted by the Electoral Commission and certified by the Electoral Commission. So that's also a challenge. I mean, if the party were to annul the results of the elections, that could be subject to legal challenges, in the courts and so on. So these are the problems, the very difficult problems that need to be resolved. Then there's the issue of the claim that this is not new. I mean, vote buying started in 1992. And I've heard many people talk about how in 1992, strangers and kako and so on were distributed in the elections. So they claim that there's a long history of vote buying, bribery, and so on. But you see, that's a very weak position to take.
Okay.
Fact that something has happened before does not mean that it should continue to happen forever. Because if you went by that logic, then there will never be change in society.
Right.
Then we always go back to what we did before and continue to do it, and therefore there will not be any change in society. Again, it's important to recognize that over the years, the incidence of vote buying, appear to be increasing, and the quantum, of material which is being used to influence delegates is also growing. Indeed, when I listened to Alhaji Inusuf Hussaini today, he claimed that every delegate went home with at least 10,000 Ghana cedis.
True.
That's huge.
But they confessed to themselves.
Yeah. That is what he said. He said every delegate went home with not less than 10,000 cedis. That is cash.
Cash, yes.
So they went home with 10,000 cedis in addition to other incentives like motorbikes, like sanitary parts, and so on and so on, Now, that is a monumental, substantial increase from what happened in 1992, where people got, a few cups of rice and so on, and kakao and so on. This time, it's big, you understand? Now, this raises the question as to where the resources are coming from. Because imagine if every delegate went home with at least 10,000 cedis cash plus motorbike plus 32-inch television sets and so on. You can imagine how much money went there. Now, the contestants, what work do they do? I mean, BabaJamal is a high commissioner to Nigeria. What is his annual salary? And he hasn't worked for more than a year. What is his total annual salary? The widow, what does she do? Even big-time business people and so on, if they took that kind of money out of their investment, they could go bankrupt. So it raises the question as to where those resources are coming from. And indeed, whether or not those resources will be replenished. And if those resources will be replenished, how will they be replenished? And some have tried to establish a direct link between vote buying and corruption. And I think that it makes sense to establish, that link.
They've often explained that these monies that they get it through crowdsourcing. So somebody bring 10 cedis here, 20 Ghana here. That's what they tell us.
But that is not true. That is not true. I mean, all of us know that is not true. So don't let us go there at all. You understand? The point has been made that if we genuinely want to fight corruption, then we ought to take a look at this practice. Indeed, it was one of these NGOs which carried out a study, I think about 3 years ago, about how much one needs in order to be able to win parliamentary elections and to win presidential elections.
It's a CDD.
CDD.
Yes.
And the figures were shocking.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this does two things. One, it excludes persons who are honest, who are genuine, who have a clear commitment to national aspirations from contesting elections if their pockets are not full.
True.
And that's a danger to the democratic practice. Two, if people buy their way into power, their responsibility to community and so on is also reduced because they bought it, and so on. Now, for me, one of the biggest things that we need to change is the attitude. I mean, I hear people say that, we only gave them transport and feeding. So you hear that all the time.
Yeah.
That's a big problem. That assumes that the electorate is doing the elected a favor.
Yes.
Personal favor.
Yes.
It removes the essence of community engagement and community commitment and so on completely from the electoral process.
True.
You are helping the candidate, so he has to pay for the help that you give him. You understand?
Yes.
In which case, we cannot complain when our elected representatives fail to commit to community aspirations. You understand? And that's a very bad argument. I mean, yesterday I heard somebody, a very prominent politician, say that, if the delegates had been given 500 cedis for their transport, there would be nothing wrong with it because that's what they all do. And I said, 500 cedis for transport in the Ayawasu East constituency. How is that? Were they going to the polling stations by chartered aircraft? Ayawasu East constituency, you know Ayawasu East constituency.
Walking distance to the polling center. You don't even need a car.
500 cities, as if they were going to the polling stations by chartered aircraft. You understand? So it is bad, and it has to stop. But you see, there's another dimension which is interesting. In 1996, I contested elections. And on my campaign, I met a woman who demanded 5 cedis then for herself and 5 cedis each for her 3 children and husband. You know, and I said, Madam, why? You are not voting for me, you are voting for yourself. You understand? You should think about the conditions in the constituency. And he said, look, that's what everybody has told us in the past.
Thank you.
They get elected, they don't deliver anything.
Yes.
If I take 5 cedis from you now, at least I've gotten something.
Yes.
Something is in my hand and so on. It does appear to make some sense. And I'm choosing my words very carefully. It does appear to make some sense. But you see, if you look at it from the point of view that that is a process of handing over your destiny to somebody for 4 years, then if you're going to charge for that, should it be 5 cedis? It's a whole process of handing over your destiny. This guy, this lady is likely to go into parliament and make laws that regulate your life, your complete life. And you think that by getting 50 cedis or so, you know, you are fine because at least you've gotten something in hand. So you've got to think about these things and so on. Now, the claim also that it has always happened is true. The levels may be different, but it's been with us for a very long time, at least since 1992. The problem is that it is becoming acceptable. It is becoming the norm. And the problem is that it's growing. It's growing, you understand? And before, it was hidden. You know, people gave monies, people gave television sets and so on, but they hid it. They didn't want it to be known. Now it's being done in our face.
It's brazen.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw videos, I'm sure all of you saw those videos of motorbikes being unpacked in their hundreds,
yes.
openly.
Yes.
At a place that I originally thought was a polling station.
Yeah.
You know. But when I listened to Inusa Fuseni today, he made the point that nothing happened at the polling stations. You know, but it was brazen. I mean, they were videoing it and posting it on social media. In the MPP presidential primaries, you saw the videos of delegates openly, they were not hiding, saying that they were waiting for their monies to decide who to vote for. You saw those videos.
Yeah.
It was not hidden. It's brazen. It's done in our face, you know, and that's a problem. Okay, that's a big problem. Now, there's been a lot of commendation for President John Dramani Mahama for his decision to recall BabaJamal as High Commissioner of Ghana to Nigeria. But questions are being raised. That the action, some say the action came too late. And that in any case, at the time that he was recalled, having won an election, he was not going to go back to Nigeria anyway.
Yeah.
So it came too late and didn't make the necessary impact. But I've heard others say that even if it came too late, it is interesting that something has been done. I would want to see us move beyond the cosmetics and take substantial action. You understand? And moreover, let me veer off into this arena, which is not a very safe arena, but if we come and sit here in the morning, we have to do things which may not be pleasant. As we sit here, all of us know that there is some haggling among some prominent citizens or some prominent members of the National Democratic Congress to become the flag bearer of the party in 2028.
That's a fact.
It's a fact.
Yes, it's a fact. It's happening.
Are we going to deny that we don't know what they are doing?
And we see, what are they doing?
Well, they are buying influence.
Yeah.
Clear. Is anybody going to deny that? Okay? They are brazenly, while serving in government position today, as ministers and so on, brazenly declaring their intention to contest. They've set up groups which are going around canvassing for votes and so on.
They're on the ground. They're on the ground.
We know that. Why are we not, I'm not included. Why is the government not taking action today to stop this madness from continuing? That's absolute madness. That's absolute madness. You're a minister. You want to contest for presidential candidature in the future. You've declared it now, and you are still a minister. And you are still a minister. Obviously, everything you do as a minister will be skewed towards giving you advantage. That's unfair to other contestants. It diverts attention from the primary duty, primary responsibility of resetting Ghana now and so on. Some action needs to be taken immediately.
But Uncle, see, you know what the problem is?
What's the problem?
None of these ministers has come out to publicly state that they want to contest. It's just you can read minutes into their actions, which is fine. To publicly state that they want to contest.
No, it's not true. When a minister is interviewed and is asked, "Oh, we've heard that you are interested in contesting the elections as flag bearer and so on," and his response is that, "Am I not qualified? In any case, I leave it in the hands of God." That's a confirmation.
Good. So that's what the problem is.
That's a confirmation. What confirmation are you looking for?
Well, the person can argue that I haven't said I want to go now.
He must be assuming that we are all yo-yos, we are all fools. Because we are not. Unfortunately for him, we are not. You understand? We are not.
Okay.
And you see all the write-ups in the newspapers and so on, and it's clear that somebody is sponsoring it. Look, I've been in the media for a very long time.
Yeah.
I can tell a sponsored article from one which is genuinely authored by somebody.
True.
And you know one of the ways of finding out whether an article is sponsored, when you see one article without a byline,
right,
and it's published word for word in so many newspapers, you know it is sponsored.
Right.
You don't need any special skills to dictate a sponsored article. And we see all the sponsored articles.
Right.
And some of them are so backward. It's unbelievable. I mean, last Monday I read one which says that the NDC must choose its candidate. I'm sure you've also read from the Ashanti region. And goes on to mention some names as well.
I saw Kujabonso's picture there.
I mean, incredible.
Yeah.
Why? Why this descent into regionalism and ethnicity? Why? And there's a party which says that its values abhor regionalism and ethnicity. And yet, its leading members who are serving in government are going out campaigning on this basis at the time when the party has said that those who want to contest should resign their positions 6 months before the time. They've started campaigning already. So something drastic must happen to restore sanity in government and in the National Democratic Congress. You understand? Because the trend I'm seeing is exceedingly worrying. I'm seeing a trend which is exceedingly worrying. Be that as it may, my understanding of the situation in the Ayawasu East constituency is that it is not over yet.
Okay.
And that even after the elections, it is possible that the results will be contested on the basis of the findings of the NDC's own internal committee of investigations, which stipulates clearly that there was a constitutional violation and a violation of the constitutional instrument guiding the conduct of the elections. But mind you, the committee raises one more issue, and it has to do with the legal capacity of the party.
Yeah.
And it poses the question, has the party have the legal capacity to annul an election which was conducted by the Electoral Commission and which results have been validated by the Electoral Commission?
It's only the Electoral Commission that can annul it.
Exactly.
Not the
so
party.
it raises that technical point,
Yes.
which is important for us to take into consideration in our analysis. You know.
I mean, you can apply sanctions to whoever may have misconducted themselves, but you cannot go to the extent of saying that, look, we have cancelled the whoever, or we have annulled the elections. You can't do that. Anyway,